Save time on the front end, save time on your rear end. Speaking of rear ends,
Uh,
I'm the king of segues.
you are, yeah. So I'm in the kitchen tonight. Back home. I'm not in Rapid City.
On your rear end.
Yeah, I'm literally.
We may talk about restrooms and rest areas tonight. That should be very exciting with a lot of potty humor.
This is serious business, Phil.
And I don't know. I'll just say this. This topic was suggested by Jonathan Crapper of Plymouthville. No, I don't know.
Okay.
So you're in the kitchen again, your own kitchen.
Yeah,
not
back in
your
my
mom's
kitchen.
dining room.
I don't have any family members sitting next to me eating Taco Bell like last time. And no, I had a much normal week after a lot of traveling and other stuff going on. It's kind of nice to be back in the routine.
Well, you had a little bit of abnormal because you had a lot of rehearsals and performances.
I did, yeah.
Gigs.
I had a lot of stuff going on, and I've still got gigs, but it's a little more calm.
Yeah. Well, you were rehearsing for the big...
As my dad would have called it, the big blowout. When it was like a big choir orchestra thing.
Oh, yeah.
He called it the big blowout.
The big gig in the sky. Well, I got to be in one of the big blowouts in Rapid City once. I was in I think the Messiah Choir. I guess I forgot about that. I've actually performed with the Symphony Orchestra, the Black Hill Symphony Orchestra.
I'm sure they still perform it because there's like 3 Christmas pieces you're allowed to do that audiences actually will tolerate. And everybody's tired of them, but that's what happens.
No, there's only 3. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm not even... Maybe there's just one. It's like you either do the Messiah or you do Christmas pop music or something like that.
I sure would like to hear the Black Hills Symphony Orchestra play Band-Aids Do They Know It's Christmas with a full choir. I hope I live to see the day. You're listening to episode 19 of Time to Lean, and here's the song.
Well, yeah, you could have a Christmas
19.
Concert.
Yeah.
Messiah's fun to do.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't want to do it every year.
Even though they don't even do the whole thing because a big chunk of it is about Easter. So.
As long as they do, We All Like Sheep.
We All Like Sheep. Yeah, that's one of the best
that's
parts.
My favorite.
That's much better than Hallelujah Chorus, I think.
We All Like Sheep is a little... There are parts of it that are difficult to sing.
Is that the one that goes,
Yeah. We all like sheep have gone astray. I didn't sing quite like that. I don't know if you're supposed to...
Sing it like Don Pardo, yeah.
Oh, it's always fun to sing like a sheep. I think it's probably... We all like sheep.
Who doesn't like sheep?
I think it's we all,
yes,
like sheep, have gone astray.
I shouldn't bitch
That
about
was
this.
another
I haven't
topic.
had to play it in many years. Partially because the symphony orchestra I play with out here deliberately does not do a Christmas concert.
Oh, are they part of the War on Christmas?
We are an active participant in the War on Christmas. Yes.
No, everybody else, because you guys don't get paid for that
Right, it's a
orchestra, so
volunteer,
everybody else has gigs, and that's
I
a
think
busy
that's
time
a
of year to
great
make money.
arrangement. We don't do Christmas and we don't play in the summertime. So we avoid holiday concerts and outdoor concerts, both of which, if you're not being paid, aren't that much fun.
No.
If you're not,
no.
I mean, outdoor concerts in a band, like a concert band or something like that, that's a different deal. But
Sure.
orchestras outdoors, most of the time, it's pretty lame,
Well,
in my opinion.
I don't know. It'd be hard to hear.
I'm sure
depends.
somebody will make a comment and say how much they love outdoor Christmas or outdoor Christmas concerts. See,
Well, you should try that. I mean, keeping the instruments
in Minnesota,
tune,
an
I don't
outdoor
know.
Christmas concert sounds great. So today I was in a staff meeting at my work, my place of employment, and one of the one of my colleagues had to go home earlier in the day because his furnace wasn't working.
Oh.
And it was determined that a bird had flown in through one of the vents and got stuck in the blower motor.
Oh, great.
That actually happened to me many years ago at my old house.
I couldn't remember if it was a bird or some animal fell in there.
It got wedged in there and prevented it from running. And it was such a strange thing, and I never thought I would ever hear anybody else with that. And as soon as he said it, I go, holy shit. I didn't say holy shit because I work for a church school, but...
No, you just said holy.
Holy bleep. But
holy
I said...
bird.
I had that happen to me once, and so strange. But so
maybe it's more common than we think.
It might be. I remember the technician that came. He came out, opened the panel on the furnace, and pulled out a dead bird, and it came back to life. Not the bird, but the furnace.
Then you sing the hallelujah.
Exactly. A little choir came in.
Hallelujah. And the bird flies away in your house and runs into a window.
So, he's telling the story and everything, and another coworker who's from Florida originally.
Oh.
She says that's like the time that my family had an air conditioner problem, and it was all outside, and my sister had to go remove a giant black snake from inside of the air conditioner compressor, and she just went into this detail about how disgusting it was.
Did it? It must have got chopped up when it tried to start or something.
I think it got caught in the mechanism there.
So gross.
And all I thought was like, I like winter.
Well, yeah.
We don't have shit like that here.
I don't have to deal with large black snakes usually around here at all.
Other large reptiles and many bugs.
Wow. The poor Everglades are being overrun by introduced animals.
I'll bet.
Like anacondas and stuff. People are releasing their pets they don't want anymore into the Everglades. That's nice. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we're fucking it up.
Humans suck.
Anyway, that was a long tangent. How are you doing tonight, Phil?
Oh, I'm out of it. I'm just kind of... I haven't been sleeping well. But nobody wants to hear about that. I'm fine.
Unless you have a fun, nostalgic story attached to your sleep.
Remember that
problem.
time I was tired? No.
In Rapid City and at Shaky, I fell asleep next to a bunch of grease.
I fell asleep with my face hit the weird white pudding.
Oh.
White pudding.
Ah. All right. What are you drinking?
I am. Oh, no, what? I'm going to get it right. I got it wrong. I got it wrong last time, and the narrator corrected me. It was very embarrassing. I'm drinking a High West. Oh, what's the name of the Prairie Style bourbon?
The American Prairie Bourbon.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm having that in a Manhattan.
I remember that stuff being very piney tasting.
Piney. I
haven't had it in a few years, but that's my recollection.
Pine. I pine for the fjords.
That's good. That's nice. Today I'm gonna open the bottle, do Ralphie style, and do the cork. Oh, this one doesn't really squeak.
Oh, we'll add a squeak later. Next squeak.
Okay. I just have a little bit left in this bottle, so I'm gonna finish it. This is Evan Williams Single Barrel.
Oh, and okay, sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a $20-ish. It's about let's see, it tells you actually how old it is, which is great. It's about 8 years old. 43%.
Well, what did you hear the news that PBR is going to be entering the whiskey?
Well, I saw something about that, and I didn't.
I didn't read the article either.
It.
I didn't read the article either. But
okay,
it sounds
we have some
evidently they're going to come out with a bourbon or something.
There's a lot of weird stuff. There's that, and then if you've heard of the boxed wine called Black Box,
yeah,
they have a whiskey now.
Oh, yeah. Heidi posted about that, didn't they? Or didn't she?
Yeah. Our friend Heidi
Or something
did,
like
yes.
that? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I have not tried it.
I think, like you said, it's a little different than wine in a box.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about boxed wine is the fact that it keeps so long once you open it.
Yeah.
It's got that vacuum seal thing. You don't have to drink the entire container in a day or two like you do with a bottle of wine.
But you are sort of anti-cork.
I just don't enjoy corks because, well, they're annoying.
You're not anti-cork.
No. I for wine bottles, I really don't like them because I think it's a pain in the ass to open.
And from what I've read, there's no difference really in the taste of a screw cap or cork. I think the cork lobby was from the Isle of Cork or whatever was up there.
It's this ritual I think people attach with good wine that if it's got a screw top on it, it must be swill.
Yeah.
So
well, that's not the same.
That should be. We should get rid of corks and wine. I've said it. Email Phil.
Phil's email is jknowles@ihatecorks.com.
Get rid of straws in wine too, because straws can end up in turtle noses.
Here's the thing about straws. Let me tell you about straws.
You don't drink wine with a straw, do you?
No, but I've seen it done. People I know.
A spritzer.
I think the straw thing is ultimately, yes, I get it, but it seems like you're going after something that's a much smaller problem than other things.
Yeah.
So,
but we can just take on everything all at once.
Yeah, I mean, I think the plastic grocery bag thing is a lot bigger issue than plastic straws are. But
as far as I know, because turtles eat those, and I don't know why
they're a bigger issue. Although they are being banned in some areas now, so
I just don't know why everything ends up in the ocean. I mean, I don't when I'm in the middle of I'm not near a coast, but supposedly, I mean, we don't know exactly where our waste ends up either. So
yeah, exactly, and some of it ends up in one of the big rivers, and that gets to the ocean.
Yeah, well, it could. Big river. Like the old days, the farmers and ranchers just had fire pits, and so you'd be driving. I don't see those as much anymore.
People
but you drive across
still burn
the state,
their trash, though.
And you'll see
that happens out in the rural areas.
You'll see little, or pretty large fires sometimes on your little road trip in the west, off the side of the road.
It's true.
Sometimes you get to smell them, and that's always good. Fine, I may be being called here. Hold on.
Okay.
What? Is something going on?
I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to get some ice.
John,
like ice?
Getting ice. Ice is nice.
That is a loud refrigerator.
Except for the border
I haven't
control.
mentioned that my refrigerator is very loud. It not only makes a racket when it's refilling the ice maker container, it also has a very loud compressor that runs at random times. And one thing you definitely want to do if you come into possession of like a major appliance or some other product and you didn't actually buy it yourself, especially because we bought this house, it had appliances. What you don't want to do is research the appliance online and read a lot of reviews, because you end up reading lots of things that are really awful about what you are stuck with because it came with your house and it's too new to justify replacing. And it's often the people that post these reviews that have had horrible problems. So don't do that. This is a public service I'm doing here.
Oh, whoops. Did I interrupt?
I was just having a moment with the audience.
Oh, you get to.
Well, what else? I'm just sitting here. I put some ice in my drink and I started talking about my fridge.
I shouldn't have ran up the stairs. I'm too old for that.
Too old for that shit.
All right, were you done?
Yeah, no.
Is your moment?
My moment, yeah.
The moment's passed. That was my friend Stan. He's a composer.
Oh, you've told me about him, yes.
Well, maybe we'll have him on someday.
That would be great.
He's a film buff and stuff like that, and he old films. But he brought by his. He found out we didn't have one of his, I guess, 3 CDs, and we didn't have one of them, so he brought it by.
That's mighty neighborly.
He doesn't live too far away.
Good.
Stan.
So, I think we were going to talk about bathrooms.
Well, okay.
It's on our topic list. I think we need it. It's time that we flushed it out. Sorry, this has already gotten bad.
It is going to be it's gone to shit. Well, where to start? Well, okay, the bathroom fan thing, but that's kind of when Rob.
That's a Rob Knowles thing. I think we can table that for our next episode with Rob, and we can talk about.
We don't want to have 2 episodes where we talk about bathrooms, do we?
Rob and I are both big believers in proper ventilation.
Right. Even when it was 24/7, the fan was running in the basement of your old house, I think.
Of course, in the old days, they didn't put fans in. They just, if you're lucky, they had a window you could open.
Yeah. Well, our house doesn't have one, and it's not good for the humidity.
Right. It's so exhaust fans are a good thing. And the thing about it is it's not only the odor, but it, of course, gets out the humidity from your showers and things like that.
Yeah.
One of the cool little things that this place has is that the exhaust fans in the bathroom are on a little electronic timer. So you can either turn it on and just leave it on, or you can like hit a button, hit it once and it's 10 minutes, 20, 30, and so on.
Oh,
so you can
basically
arm it when you leave so that stays on but doesn't just stay on forever.
Right, like your other one.
You got to have a little strategy there. Because you don't want it to run all the time, burn out the motor and use more electricity.
Well, some have some kind of feature when they only come on when it's a certain humidity level or something.
Ooh, no, that's fancy too. Yeah.
Which wouldn't help.
I reject that kind of feature.
Unless your odors are very humid, which is I don't know.
Let's hope that your shits don't put out enough humidity to
sweltering.
The barometric pressure of Phil's shit triggered the fan. We good with the fans?
Well, no. Well, just the one story I remember though is when we were roommates with Sean and Blake. We weren't familiar with the fan thing, so I'd be in there, and you'd knock on the door, and so what are you doing in there? I was like, well, I'm taking a shit. Well, would you turn the fan on? so yeah, they would turn the fan on.
Did that place have a fan?
That one did.
I guess
that wooden duplex one where we could hear the neighbors all the time. Other things were troughs. I don't think.
I think we moved on to the other subtopic of public bathrooms.
Sure,
so.
Maybe.
Where else do you have a trough that you pee into?
Well, I just built one. No, but that was always kind of I don't know, annoying. I guess I'm guessing women don't have those in their restrooms, but the men usually at a festival or something. Like the Renaissance Festival or something, it'll just be kind of
Or in the old days, it was in sports venues.
Sure.
Where you had to get a lot of people in and out of them.
You still see them from time to time, like with one flusher. I think there's a trough at Liquor Lyle's.
There's one at
the best wings
Wabasha
in
Street
town.
Caves. Men's room has one.
Oh.
It's made, it looks like it's stainless steel.
Yeah,
one of those. Yeah, and
you know where I also remember like
one. And I bet it's long gone. But so the football stadium in Rapid City. Stadium.
No, I don't remember that.
Well, you didn't go to any football games, I'm guessing. But,
I wasn't in band.
Yeah, so marching band, we were there pretty often. The main men's room there had a large. It wasn't a stainless steel one. It was made out of I don't know, stone or something.
No.
But yeah, that was one of the first times I ever encountered a urinal trough.
The one at the Renaissance Festival, I haven't been there for many years, but that was just kind of PVC pipe. And I don't know where
that's a little different.
I think that must have ran down into a creek.
It ran into a creek. Yeah.
It became a creek.
Exactly. It's very true to historical It's historically accurate.
Wrong. There were no PVC toilet urinal things in 1558. I got some sleepy time lemonade again. Sorry, folks.
Here's another thing. Even at fancy, I think it's like I associate with fancy restaurants, but the urinals will have like ice in them.
Yeah, what is the deal with that? I see it
What
too.
is that?
It's very upscale places most of the time.
It's like an upscale thing.
Yeah,
You
they
have
fill
to-
up the urinals with ice from like from the bar.
It's just something to give you something to do. You put on the ice and melt
there
it.
so things don't. There's no splashing. Is that the story?
I don't know. You're still going to splash. You're probably more likely to splash.
Yeah, it's weird. It gives you a little entertainment value because you kind of see you start melting a couple of the ice cubes.
Oh, sure. You can maybe melt a hole through it.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
I'm
it's
not
just
knocking it. I just think it's a little strange.
One of my most annoying restroom things is when they have like sprays that automatically come out, and they're like fruit flavor or fruit smelling. It's like,
you mean the little motion detector things that shoot air freshener into the room?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why fruit?
Oh, yeah,
then
it's
then
always-
it smells like strawberry shit.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really do anything. It just adds to the bad smell in the place. I've never.
It just makes it even worse smell.
and again, I think part of it is that these restrooms don't have enough ventilation.
So they're masking it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And you it's a chemical perfumey smell, and then you it also smells like shit. Wow.
I don't want to breathe. I don't want to breathe the chemicals. I mean, at least shit is
Maybe
is
they
natural.
think you're being distracted long enough for you to get out.
Some shits can smell unnatural, but I'm just saying that I don't know why. I can't even believe we're talking about this. Another thing was rest areas. Those are always interesting. / scary.
The one that pops to mind is the rest area at or near Mule Creek Junction, near the South Dakota Wyoming border, I think it is.
Sure.
And it had some weird solar geo something powered thing with these big skylights. It was probably some university grant that paid for it or something.
There a lot of times you'll go to a rest area and there'll be like a little guy that lives there.
There's always an old guy too.
Not lives there, but
He sure seems to live there. He has a little room.
Same outfits. Maybe it's the same guy, but I don't. That's not
He's
possible.
been
Maybe they
cloned.
clone him.
Yeah.
Clone. It's sort of like his Star Wars clones.
He's
but
related to Jango Fett, I think.
They were. Well, never mind. They just give him bib overalls instead of the
armor.
neat helmet. The neat helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're there to clean and do maintenance and stuff if something comes up.
Another pet peeve of mine about public restrooms is regarding the sinks.
Yeah.
I really dislike the automatic activated soap dispensers. The ones you wave your hand over them and the little sensor spits out some soap.
Okay. Why is that?
I dislike that because I feel like you don't have as much control over how much soap you're getting.
No, and you just have to do more than once.
Yeah, sometimes, and then related to that, of course, the faucets.
Well, everything's automated.
Now, I'm very torn about those because on one hand, I really like not having to touch the germ-infested, handles.
Well,
That's a good thing. On the other hand, the things don't work right, and they
hardly ever.
Yeah. They either you're waving your hand around. It's like, come on, I'm here. Give me some water.
It's voice activated. Alexa. No.
That needs to be improved because overall, I think it is good to have the hands-free faucet if it worked better.
Everything should probably be hands free if you're if you want to be sanitary. But
that's I mean
except maybe yourself.
I'm a big hand washer.
John Knowles has particularly big hands.
But and then the whole paper towels versus I much prefer paper towels to hand dryers.
The only dry blow dryers things that the nice thing about the blow dryer ones is that they a lot of times in a rest area somebody will scratch out the thing so it'll say press for bacon.
That's right.
So that's good.
Bacon. The other thing, as a hand washer and somebody who thinks people are generally kind of gross, is the fact that if you have paper towels, you don't have to touch the door handle.
Right. They should have the doors push out when you're done.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Or sometimes they'll put the little foot thing that you can pull.
Oh, the toe. What's that called?
Yeah,
the toe jam football.
Toe jam football. Yeah. Patent that or copyright that.
It's got a picture of John Lennon on it.
Yeah.
Yoko Ono made a lot of money on that one. No.
Anyway, those are mostly my pet peeves. There was a really interesting article, and maybe if I remember, I'll put it in the notes for the episode about because there's been so much discussion about gender bathrooms and everything lately.
Yeah,
sure. This was an argument that instead of gender bathrooms, we should have bathrooms that are designated for the function, one for peeing, one for taking shits.
the number one and
number
the number two.
Yeah, and it would. The argument is really good that it would really speed up a lot of large public restrooms. A lot of women wouldn't have to wait as long.
You wouldn't have urinals or troughs then.
Yeah, I mean there's some probably some kinks to work out, but I think it's worth talking about because
there'd be a lot of flack over that one for some reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, wouldn't it be great though to know that if you just have to do a quick tinkle, you don't have to worry about walking into a room where somebody is taking a shit.
Well, and also the flushes could be reconfigured so there'd be less water and stuff.
Right, or they could have little ice dispensers.
But some drunk guy is going to go into the number one restroom and take a big old dookie.
Well, you have to obviously redesigning the toilets is going to be part of that because it's not going to be a thing where it's got to be very obvious. And I don't know how you do it because you can't just do urinals obviously. So, but I think it needs further study.
Well, I was going to say once I was at a sporting event and I was using the trough and a woman walked in and went to use the restroom because the line was shorter.
Oh, it went into one of the stalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I was like, hi. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, no,
it's there's no line.
And sometimes the other thing is, I think if you have like a restaurant or other public space where you have one at a time bathrooms that you lock.
There's no reason they should be gender specific.
Yeah, they should always be unisex. Because there's so many times where you somebody's in the men's and they're taking a shit or whatever, and you've got to take a pee or whatever, and there's nobody in the women's. You should be able to go in and use it.
I was going to say
versa.
that it's more likely the other way around. It takes long because usually the line's longer.
And
the women's.
Yes, of course. The gals probably don't want us, messing them up because men's rooms, I'm pretty sure, are a lot more disgusting.
Oh, I'd rather use a women's restroom. Although I don't know, they smell kind of funny too. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them have nice tables and like a little waiting room, and I don't know.
Well, there's some
not that I've been in a lot of them.
You go to some of these nice clubs, and they have prep areas or something like that.
Sure.
And they'll have a little spread of mouthwash and other personal items to kind of freshen up with in the men's rooms.
Well, now that reminds me of Houston. When I lived there, was they would have attendants in the restroom. Think of that job, John. You'd love it.
Was his name Grady?
Was it the same?
Like in The Shining?
Shining, no. But
You
yeah,
helps clean the drink off of your jacket. Yeah.
have a little table set up with on the way out with different like things like that, mouthwash and stuff, and cologne, and then you give them a tip or something, or they give you a towel too. They'd say, "Here, wash your hands."
And you also know you're in a very fancy place when it's
Very fancy.
You just have this big pile of white towels, cloth ones that you just and you throw it in a bin.
I like that a lot, but I suppose that's not good for the environment either from all the washing. But
No, of course
I don't know. Is it better than? Well, they have biodegradable paper towels.
Yeah, actually, the university I work for does that.
I mean, a lot of the professors there are biodegradable too, and I thought that was
Most
pretty.
of them are. The
I thought
part
that was
I
pretty
don't
innovative.
understand is so they we in the cafeteria they have biodegradable like soda cups. The clear plastic looking ones, and
It's like made out of soy or something, soy
it's
plastic.
bizarre.
They should have that for everything. Why not?
But they make biodegradable. So takeout food containers, though, which are often biodegradable, those brown kind of rough texture material.
Yeah.
Those
Not
are
quite
great,
cardboard.
except that if you like come home with a thing of Chinese food or something like that, it starts to eat through the material, and if you have to almost transplant it to a different container.
You probably do.
Otherwise, it just soaks through in like an hour or something.
Like people bring their own. This is one thing I was thinking about, and maybe people already do this, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's not up to code. Maybe you can't do this with the food permits and stuff. But why don't we bring people? Some people bring their own bags to grocery stores. Why don't we bring our own to-go containers? I mean, it might violate a food code, though. You might have to change some laws because you can't bring outside. But why? I don't know why it would.
I think that's less likely than people bringing bags to the grocery store.
I haven't been in food service for a long time, so I'm not up on the codes.
Do you ever bring a reusable bag to a grocery store, Phil?
My wife has them all in the car, and she does that.
Oh, good for her, because I've tried leaving them in the car for that purpose, and I never remember to bring them in.
No, I think I would forget too. I mean, because I wouldn't just keep them on the seat next to me; it'd be in the trunk or something. So I'd have to remember to. And shopping, I mean, I want to get in and out of there as fast as I can, and but I don't use plastic usually. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Another thing in rest. I almost need another beverage.
Actually, I do too. I'm out.
Okay.
Let's take a quick 2 minutes.
Okay, fine.
Take a break. Break it down. Take a break. Break it down.
I'm back.
Excellent.
Were you having another public service announcement?
No, I've been here quite long enough. I've got Chris Matthews on in the background here.
Chris Matthews has particularly hard balls.
Hey.
Hardball. Is he interviewing Ralph Nader about the airplane crash? Did you hear about that?
Something about his daughter?
Great.
Or
No, it's great
niece?
great niece.
Yeah, I
died
just
in
heard a
the
blurb
Ethiopian
on
crash.
the radio about that.
So all of a sudden, instead of running for president, he's talking about safety again, which is,
He has a new
That's
book
fine.
called Unsafe at Any Altitude.
Does he really?
No, that's a joke. You remember his old thing was Unsafe at Any Speed.
Oh,
About that
no.
one car that was killing people.
I ruined your joke because I thought the joke was that he was promoting a book already.
No, it may
to
not
talk
have been. Maybe it
about
was just an article or something. But yeah, he had this famous thing called Unsafe at Any Speed about... I'll have to look it up.
Cars?
I want to say it was called the Corvair was the name of the car that was dangerous and blew up or something like that. Pinto. No.
Well, if you were driving really fast in reverse,
Yeah, exactly.
did that ever happen? Anyway,
Okay, so you were thinking of bathroom stall signage or
Well,
messages?
maybe not. Well, no, that's the thing, like advertisements or something, or some places will have this sports section. Well, it's like, well, I'm gonna, or now it's videos, you know.
Yeah,
like,
so you're standing at
women don't have those in their
captive
stalls,
audience,
do they?
So you're standing taking a pee, and they have this advertising right there, and I don't know. I guess I don't really
or the
care.
sports section, of course. I love sports.
Well, or usually it's just straight up ads, but
Yeah, right.
one of the things I really hate is when you go get gas.
Oh, John,
those-
I was just gonna say
Yep.
that's my biggest pet peeve right now.
I hate those
Is-
things. You know, those stupid video screens that come on and blare the advertising at you while you're pumping the gas.
I know this is all first world problems, but I really, some people can't even have to get gas, or they have to wait in line for days.
Yeah.
But I freaking hate those things. I don't want noise everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Why do I have to
You know
have
what's
somebody
really
yelling
hilarious
at
about
me
those
when I
is
get
that,
gas now?
Like you get out of the car and it's all normal, and that you think you're fine, and as soon as the pump kicks in, the sound comes on.
And then it echoes with the other ones.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
No, because some of them just keep running. They're not
I
activated by you.
discovered that one of the convenience store chains in our area has a mute button on
Is it Speedway?
It's no, unfortunately, it's like Quick Trip, I think.
I need a mute button on those damn things.
So
but
yeah,
then you
there's
hear
actually
the next
a little
one
button
over.
that says "sound off."
I'm gonna call Speedway tomorrow. Well, because sometimes it's like
Holiday
echoing,
does
so
it
you're
too.
like,
they're terrible.
sometimes it echoes, so it's like, it's like, or some little funny news story about a cat that floated to Antarctica.
Or entertainment news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I get to hear about stars that I've never heard of before. So
It's usually-
hey, it's
yeah,
so
'cause
and
you're
so's
old.
birthday. Right. I was like, who are they? I'm glad they're having a birthday, but I never heard of them.
Right. It sucks.
Well, okay, but no, I was thinking of like signs in restrooms, like at diners or.
Drive-ins and dives.
but-
no.
Let's get
I'm
him
Guy
on.
Fieri.
Let's talk about bathrooms. My hair's on fire. No, but not he, but like, oh, okay. So one of the first ones I remember was, I think it was a Bonanza in Mitchell, South Dakota, and it had a sign that said, "Flush twice. It's a long ways to the kitchen."
Okay, that was not a sign though. That's graffiti or
No,
somebody
this was
carved-
a sign that they posted.
No.
It was at least printed out.
Somebody wrote it on the, like in magic marker on the side of the stall.
No, this particular one had several signs like this. So there was another one that,
Flush twice, it's a long way to the kitchen. That was not an official sign.
yes, maybe it wasn't at the Mitchell Bonanza, but I saw one with. But there are other ones like, we aim to please. You aim to please.
Well, okay, that's just cheeky, but
I swear.
flush twice. I remember specifically seeing in Mitchell, and it was a smart ass.
So it
thing that
was
somebody
hand-carved.
wrote in the men's room.
So basically, it means. So what's it mean? It's just the
That your
food
shit is going into the food.
It's literal.
Yeah.
But what happens if you only flush once? It just goes to the walk-in fridge.
Doesn't make it.
Sometimes Phil accidentally laughs like Muttley from Dastardly and Muttley and their flying machines.
This is the worst episode.
And now, the only reason I know so much about women's restrooms is because I've had to clean some in my
I've
day.
cleaned a few too in my campground days.
But so you'd always have to have a sign in there that says something like, "Please don't flush sanitary napkins and your lipstick." No, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, maybe not that one.
So if that was graffiti, that gets into. I swear, at some place I've seen that as an actual sign in a diner. Maybe it was a Waffle House.
Maybe the firehouse outfit in Rapid City could do that. They like to do kind of edgy stuff.
Oh, that reminds me too. The restroom at the men's restroom. I don't know what I didn't clean the women's restroom there, so I don't know. But Buka's here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. They have, you go in and I think it's like audio of women admiring you. I still remember once I walked in at least where I think it was women in Italian admiring, not that I know Italian, maybe I just imagined it, but admiring your member.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
anyway.
I think that's probably true.
And the pictures and stuff. I wonder if the women's...
It's like one of the other places I've been does... So they'll have a picture of Gina Lollobrigida, famous 60s sexy movie star actress. And underneath it'll be captioned, "Hot Italian dish." It's terrible.
Those are probably being removed as we speak.
Probably. How did we all manage to grow up in families with so few toilets available? Like, my family had 2 bathrooms, which is more than a lot of families did.
For 6 people, though.
For right? 7 people.
7.
There were five of us, plus
sometimes 8.
Sometimes 8, if Bruce or one of the other,
sure.
brothers or Mark Pork or somebody else was stopping by.
Or Schloopler? No, I don't know what that was.
No, he didn't stay long enough for that to be an issue. But
who was the guy? It was Grizzly Adams or somebody would show up every now and then.
Are you talking about Beemuth? Beemuth. Haven't I talked about Beemuth on this show?
Not on here. No. He was. I don't know a lot about him. He just showed up. I think he was a friend of your mom's in college.
So yeah, he was a high school classmate of my mom's from Iowa.
Oh, high school.
He went to medical school and had some kind of a breakdown and dropped out and became a street person, hippie, crazy person, lived in California most of the time, and tended to hitchhike around the country.
Yeah, and so sometimes he'd show up.
He'd show up randomly at my parents' house, and he would set up a tent in the backyard, and would hang out with us. And his real name was Bill Neff. I think that was the guy's real name.
Oh,
but he gave himself a new name when he awoke or whatever.
Yeah,
he called himself Beemuth Gutchin. I believe.
Gutchin.
I one of my siblings might correct me on that, but I know it was Beemuth.
It wasn't something your dad made up.
No. He did tend to make up funny names for people, but that's not one that he did.
What did your dad think of Beemuth showing up?
I think he just kind of let it ride.
Ow! Somebody's in the yard.
Yeah, I think he just kind of went with it.
He wasn't one.
He was very harmless. The only thing that he ever did that my dad I remember my dad complaining about was he would occasionally cook in the kitchen and make something really smelly. And my dad had a really keen sense of smell and really strong food orders just pissed him off. So he complained about that, but otherwise, no, he was very tolerant.
I don't think you had a kitchen fan.
No, not a good enough one. Yeah, I remember I made the mistake once of making chili or something like that in there that I cooked down the onions on the stove, and boy, that did not go over well.
Why on?
Onions and garlic just set them off. Anyway, Beemuth would do that. He would stay for a while and then he would move on. And go on to wherever he was going next, and he would hang out with us. He was very friendly and harmless, and one of his big things was he claimed that sugar was a drug that was invented by the Pentagon to keep the population in line.
Well, it sounds like fluoride or something.
Yeah, something like that. So he had a lot of good paranoia and weird theories about stuff. But he was
before the internet.
He was very nice and, as I said, pretty harmless. He smelled really strange, but he would he didn't ever want. And maybe my parents gave him a little money, but I don't think they did much for him. He didn't want anything from us. He just wanted to visit, and he obviously knew where my parents lived, but he. And
it was on the way to somewhere else.
He just traveled around. I think during the winter months he was mostly in I think Santa Cruz, I believe, is where he hung out a lot. He was basically a homeless man, though.
Oh, interesting.
And he would go. I mean, I'm sure my mom offered to buy him food and all that stuff, and he would, oh no, I just go over to Safeway and I ask them for the stuff they're going to throw out. And he would take, bread and other stuff that they were throwing out, and they would give it to him. And probably wouldn't do that today, but
no, I remember when I worked at food service, if an employee was caught doing that, you weren't.
Yeah.
Because, that part of it was then it encourages people to keep coming. Do you have anything you're going to throw away?
You become kind of an unofficial food shelf.
You don't want to throw away food, but so what we did, we came up with a way to donate it, but
I know
then we say no,
really
we donate
problem, actually, but he would do that, and that's kind of how he operated. And then at some point he'd say, it's time for me to go, and he'd hit the road, and we just never knew when he was going to show up. And then
it's totally random.
One day he just stopped showing up, and nobody really knows what happened to him. I suspect that he's no longer living, but that's the sad part, really. And actually, it is kind of a sad thing because it sounded from talking to my mom that he was very bright and had a good future, and he had a family and everything. It wasn't like he had some horrible tragedy that it just something just cracked.
Sure.
And
well, that happens sometimes.
It does.
Maybe he was a little too bright.
Who knows what really
the brightest
went on,
stars burn out the fastest.
Exactly. So that's an interesting side story, definitely.
Kind of the later end of the whole dropout thing.
And it's actually one of the strongest associations personally I have with kind of hippie culture.
Sure.
Of that kind of thing. Well,
we on road trips, we'd always often pick up a hitchhiker. My dad would, and we'd be like, "Oh no, don't pick them up." And then with some strangers in the car. It was even weird back then.
It is very strange, yeah.
But my dad liked to talk to people, and he'd always get the stories, and he and never were axe murderer or anything like that. I wouldn't be here, but. Yeah, hippies. But my dad had friends that would just kind of show up sometimes. Like there was one guy once that came with a whole briefcase of tape cassettes of all kinds of weird music. I mean, it was eclectic, and so that was my first. So I remember copying a lot of his cassettes. So it probably got degraded quite a bit, but some of them where I was copying copies, but whatever. But that's where I got, the first time I heard like Suicidal Tendencies or, but he didn't just have punk. It was this briefcase filled with, I don't know. But it introduced me to some different kind of music. I think that was the same, maybe I'll have my dad on someday, but I think that was the same guy that would show up with dandelion wine every now and then, and we'd all have to try it. I'm going to learn how to make that this year, I think, but.
There's a lot of it around, isn't there?
Yeah, well, and maybe it's good for you. I hear it's got something in the leaves is good for you. I can't remember what the thing is, antioxidants or something. I don't know.
Dandelion is used for many conditions, like upset stomach, loss of appetite, bruises, skin toner, blood tonic, digestive tonic, laxative. It also is known to increase urine production, I think. The roasted root is used as a coffee substitute. We've secretly replaced John's Folgers crystals with dandelion root.
I'm looking out at my gigantic backyard and wondering,
no dandelions?
Wonder if it's going to be all dandelions when it actually becomes spring.
Don't get rid of them at first because they're the first plants that bloom in a lot of cases for the bees to start getting food on. So it's good. It's good for the bees.
Yeah, it's true. I gotta have I gotta do something. Part of my fence needs repair, and
bees could do that. You could make a honeycomb fence.
Bees. Yeah, fence repair bees.
Wow, yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't ever. Oh, that's the other thing with restrooms. Is the old outhouses and at national parks sometimes they'll have basically just a hole, and that they put some chemical in there or something. That's a smell.
Yeah, it's really.
It's a very chemically. I don't know what. I wonder what chemical they put in there.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's like, ooh, if you get a whiff of that, and then there's usually bugs in there too. Not bees, maybe. Hopefully.
I think outhouse technology has improved a little bit over the years. It seems like they keep the bugs out of it more. Maybe they just put so many chemicals in now that it kills everything.
Well, some of them have little zappers.
Wow.
Those, yeah. I hope they're solar powered.
Crazy shit.
You don't even get to flush twice there.
There's no flushing.
Well, they have those compostable. There you go. Combustible.
Phil, do you compost at your home?
Yeah. Food scraps and stuff like that. Not our feces, but.
Okay. So you have like a barrel or something you put it all into?
No, I'm not doing it the 100% official happy way, but I have a place that I put it in. Just in the yard in a little enclosure thing that I built. Really what you should do is have 2 or 3 of them, and then you flip it and rotate it and different things. I kind of rotate it, but it does cut down on things that I'm throwing away. We don't put meat in it, of course, or anything like that. But and I don't know. The soil's really good right there. But this is like I don't know what year it is now. But I've started using that now in a little garden area that I'm trying. I don't have a very good green thumb. I want to be a better gardener, but I don't know how many plants have died under my watch outside. I'm good with trees.
Wow. And
trees do really well. I can make little baby trees grow, and I can do okay with tomatoes. But I think my backyard is really, really wet. And retains a lot of water, moisture. So I got to figure out something someday about that. But I've started making a raised bed for the vegetable area. Maybe that'll drain better. I don't know. But I've been working in the compost with that. I think but it does cut down on what you're throwing away, and we don't really throw away that much. We have recycling, and then there's some garbage. I don't even use the full bin. Even for a family of 4. I mean. Banana peels and whatever else. I guess you can do newspaper and things like that too, but I don't know.
Wow.
Leaves. It's good to have a good mix. I know that. You're supposed to do layers. I don't know. I don't do it right.
Well, I don't do that stuff, but I pretty much
Chris
do as little as possible. But I'm trying to get a little bit better now that I've got a country estate. That's... So
you mean you're going to start composting or gardening? Or?
I don't think. No, I don't. Neither one of us are really enjoy gardening, so I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's not like it saves you money.
No, it's more of a nice.
You have to enjoy it.
I like getting outside and working in the dirt and the physical part of it.
Well, come on over sometime.
But no, I'm not good at it yet. Maybe I'd have better luck over there than on my yard.
No, I'm actually buying a riding lawnmower this year. So.
Oh, we should just get a big old cowboy hat right around back there. I don't know why.
Get some cattle. Yeah, every so often MJ thinks she wants to get some chickens, but
yeah,
I think it's just doesn't appeal.
Well. All I know is that everyone in our neighborhood that had chickens does not have them anymore. And I don't know if they just got tired of it or they died off or what. But
seems like a lot of work. Again, it's a lot of work if you don't.
I don't know. You just feed them and take the eggs every now and then, don't you?
I guess.
You have to have you have to keep them at the right temperature and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to
and
keep the coops cleaned every so often. And
sure.
I
just
keeping the cat box clean. And if I get a dog, I'm going to be picking up shit. So,
are you thinking of getting a dog? You haven't had a dog for a long time.
No, we're thinking about it. If I'm having a part, my yard is mostly fenced, but has some gaps.
You need to get that all
so
fixed.
I'm having a company come and give me a quote on finishing that
shoring
off.
it up.
But I do have a nice big open backyard and easy access to it through the back of the house. So that part would be great.
A dog would love that backyard.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's not a bad time to do that because MJ works from home half the time, so she's here a lot. And
sure.
The cat would be pissed, but whatever.
The house is big enough that they can find their own place.
I'm not worried about it. He tolerates dogs. It's pretty rare that you find a cat that actually likes having a dog. The best you can hope for is that they just kind of have a detente.
Right. I mean, if they grew up together, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, there could be some of that. I think, but if the cat's already there, you usually especially if you bring a puppy in, they tend to respect it a lot better.
Yeah. Oh, puppies.
Yeah, they're a lot of work, but it's like it's more work, but you kind of have a clean slate.
Yeah. But you don't have to deal with if they've been abused or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a mystery.
People should adopt
older dogs. Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know.
Maybe just get 3 really old dogs.
Well, I know somebody who does that. They adopt really old dogs from the shelters or rescues.
Oh,
Ones
that's nice.
Probably only have a few years left or something like that.
It's sort of a doggy
hospice or
hospice, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they're
it.
quite at that stage, but I think when the dogs get past 10 years, it's hard to find homes for them.
Sure, and I don't know. Some dogs live to be 20 years, so I mean, what?
Yeah, it really depends.
Not a bigger dog, I guess.
So yeah, no, that's great that people do that.
My wife has a friend, or I don't know, like a second cousin or first cousin once removed or whatever, that basically takes in various animals, foster home kind of thing, until they can find owners, and she's been doing that for many years. So that's good. I'm glad there are people out there that do that.
Well, you ready to wrap up?
I suppose this has been
this has went longer than I expected, but
somehow we went from restrooms to Beemuth to dogs.
That's what we do, Phil.
And gardening.
So I'll throw out a quick endorsement. A show that I just finished watching. It's an HBO show, so it's got lots of naughty language.
Oh,
but it ended up being pretty good. It's called Succession.
I haven't even heard of that one.
Yeah, it's only had one 10-episode season. It's really quite good. It's kind of somebody really well described it as a drama satire. Because it's
Strange.
Definitely a serious show, but it has some really dark humor in it.
It's a tragic comedy.
It's about this super rich family that I think it's kind of inspired by the Rupert Murdoch family, who owns Fox and all that stuff.
Sure.
So they have a big media empire, but they've got this old guy who's the founder who has some kind of fucked up children, and they're trying to do power moves to take over, and he's kind of in bad health, and but they're all really assholes.
Wow.
As characters go, but it somehow stays compelling, which is I think really tough.
It's no Dallas.
It's not quite Dallas.
That was kind of the same premise.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit like that. It's certainly the dynasty thing.
Well, how many shows have been like their plays or?
Oh yeah, no, it's a great family dramas, and of course they're
the wealthy or royal families, or
one of the people in it is it's one of the it's Macaulay Culkin's brother. Is his name Kieran, I think, or
I don't know. What is that? The Home Alone guy?
Yeah. You remember Macaulay Culkin, right?
Yeah. So his brothers,
he has some siblings, and one of them is in this show. And he's really good. He plays this real asshole, and he's very good at it. He's really fun to watch, actually. Because he's kind of this loser, smart ass,
Yeah.
Dick.
Well, I'm guessing if given the opportunity, McKelkey, what's his name?
Macaulay is the one from Home Alone.
Macaulay.
I don't know what he does now. I haven't seen him recently.
Well, I'm guessing if given the opportunity, he probably would have been able to do pretty well too, but he got kind of pigeonholed or whatever stereotype.
I guess. Child actors are kind of a whole other issue. But
I don't think he could really find different work after that.
He
shows up every now and
the
then.
The father is played by Brian Cox. If you look him up, he's been in a lot of things. He's really good. He's an old guy, and it's a very well done show. But it's definitely got a nasty edge to it. But if you're willing to stick it out, I think it's very good.
Well, I saw the first episode that was free on YouTube of Twilight Zone.
Right.
The new reboot with Jordan Peele producing, or at least he's the
narrator.
I don't know he's a narrator, but what's his role? Is he also a producer?
He's one of the producers.
He has something to do with it besides narrating.
I don't know if he's written them or not. I think he has some other creative involvement in it. Other people work on the show too. I've seen 2 of the episodes so far.
Jordan Peele is a guy I need to figure out more about, because I'm not a huge horror fan, but he's definitely doing some really evidently some really cool things with the horror genre.
Have you seen Get Out?
No.
Yeah, you should see that. I think it's a little.
Now he's got
overrated.
Us. No. Well, it was a surprise when I'd heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet. And
no, it is worth seeing though,
now.
Phil. I would definitely watch it if you get a chance. It is technically a horror movie, although it's more of a suspense kind of.
Sure.
It has kind of a psychological thriller aspect to it, and
Us is getting a lot of buzz too. So
it's gotten good reviews too.
Well, wasn't
I'll check
Peele,
that out sometime.
Peele was in wasn't he in a skit comedy show?
Yeah, he had a show called, was it Key and Peele?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I never saw either, and I should have.
No, I kind of missed out on that.
It was sad.
So the Twilight Zone so far, I think, is
I saw The Comedian.
The Comedian
that was the one that was
actually
free.
really good, I thought.
What was the other one?
The other one was a remake of the Nightmare at. Well, it was called Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. The one that William Shatner and John Lithgow both did.
Right.
The new
that's
version
been
is a
done
little
twice.
bit. One of the things I'll say about the new
3
show
times.
is that I've only seen 2, so maybe it'll change. But one of the things, if you go back and watch the really good original Twilight Zone shows, is that they pack a lot in material and everything into a half hour.
Yeah.
And these are all hour-long shows, and especially the Nightmare at 30,000 Feet episode kind of
that
dragged.
doesn't need to be an hour. I mean that.
I don't know if they don't want to be constrained by that, and of course, why do they have? It's on a streaming service. Why does it have to be an hour show? Why couldn't it be a 40-minute show or things like that?
Or however long it needed to be.
Long it needs.
Like
maybe
our
half hour would be
podcast.
too tight, but why does it? It felt kind of padded.
Yeah.
And even the Comedian one, I think, could have been a little shorter than it was, because you totally knew where it was going.
You could have gotten the point across in 45 minutes very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike this podcast.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was
yeah, and
pretty,
I really
pretty
liked
dark.
the actor, the Pakistani comedian actor. I forget his name now, but
yeah,
you've seen him around in other stuff. If you haven't seen The Big Sick, that's the movie he co-wrote with his wife, I think.
That's not The Big Seek.
Nope, he's not. He is not Sikh either. No, The Big Sick is really.
I may have just made. If I made a racist joke just now, I apologize. I don't know. But
no, seriously, The Big Sick is really good. If you
okay, that's where I heard of that guy. I haven't seen it.
And
I haven't seen anything.
He was also on Silicon Valley, which is another show I really like.
Kumail Nanjiani is the name in an Italian accent. I'm sorry, I have a Sleepy Town lemonade. Oh, boy. You ever wonder what the meaning of life is? It isn't deluxe mixed nuts. And it isn't Chris Matthews particularly hard balls.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was well done. It was probably a little long, but
right. So I'm interested to see what they do with it, but it's not really breaking a lot of ground other than the fact that it has, it's not all white people, which is really good.
Right. Yeah.
So that part is really cool, and again, it has good production values and
definitely.
like that, Yeah,
I don't-
I'm kind of a wait and see on that show.
Now that you mention it, I don't remember the music at all. Do you?
I don't think it had much of a score to it.
I mean, it has the theme, which is very similar.
It's based
to
on the very familiar Twilight Zone theme.
It's basically a cover of it or something, isn't it?
It's a redo. That's okay.
And that's fine because you can't really improve on that. It was a great. Now, I kind of liked the one Twilight Zone reboot. I think Jerry Garcia did the Twilight Zone theme. Do you remember that one?
I do. That was the '80s version, wasn't it?
That was a pretty good, a good version of the theme.
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't have a
but
problem
the music
with
is
them redoing
the
the
music
theme,
isn't
definitely.
the music isn't jumping out at me at all yet. Though
Yeah.
I didn't. Maybe that's not the main point of this one, but because the original Twilight Zone. I mean, Bernard Hermstein or whatever his name was. What's the guy's name?
Herman.
I mean, what?
Herman
something.
Herman Munster. No, Herman. If you want to, it sounds like
Heyman. He was a reggae artist. No, but that music, I have some of those soundtracks, and
it's great music. Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of where the soundtrack becomes kind of a character onto its own, which some people are not. They're not on that wavelength with soundtracks. The soundtrack should just be kind of enhancing
great,
the mood.
You know, old school. Their movie scores,
Orchestras.
but they're kind of a miniature.
Yeah. It's great.
He did them with these really small instrumental ensembles, and yeah, they're great music. If you haven't ever listened to them on their own,
It's good. There's a recommendation there. But that's good. Really good music. But yeah, I don't even remember the music in this one.
Yeah,
but you're
tell
saying
you
maybe it
anything
wasn't
about
even it wasn't even there really. It was. I mean, I don't remember music at all in it, except the theme. I'll have to watch it again.
I will reinforce the previous episode's recommendation that you watch Black Mirror, though, because to me that's even more of a kind of almost a more successful reimagining of the Twilight Zone.
Oh no, it sounds really good, really dark, but
yeah. It is, and it has a certain. It kind of has a. It's less political than society and technology based.
Sure.
And it's probably the closest thing we have to a successful update of the Twilight Zone.
It's that because that was actually more of a not a reboot, but a reimagining of it. Kind of.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same, but it definitely kind of.
How would the Twilight Zone be today if it was done? It's probably more like Black Mirror.
Whereas
than...
the actual Twilight Zone reboot that we're watching now is a little bit stuck in reusing the old stuff. Like both of the episodes I watched were very. They were very familiar kind of ideas
formulaic
and things like that. So one of them is a deal with the devil, basically, and another one is the Nightmare at 30,000 Feet thing with kind of a twist added to it. So, but it's not really that, it didn't really advance it a lot.
And and maybe it's early. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. There's only been.
But I think they're sticking to a formula. I think they're sticking to a formula which Black Mirror doesn't have to stick to.
No. And Black Mirror is, the thing is, it's, and sometimes they do some weird shit and it doesn't always work, but it definitely has the capability of trying things.
Well,
and also
they're
some
trying.
of the, so some of the seasons only have like 4 episodes in them. It's really a short. It's one of those English shows where they don't have to fill out a whole conventional season of stuff. But,
God, I wish more American shows were like that.
Season 3 of Time to Lean and Here's a Song will be only 3 episodes long.
Yeah, it's getting better, but
Is I almost said third Rock from the Sun. No, is Big Bang Theory? Is that still being
it's
produced?
in its last year right now, I think.
Oh,
they
thank
did
God.
finally announce they were going to put it out of its misery.
Get it over with. The shows do not. There is no show that needs to be longer than 3 seasons, maybe 5.
Yeah,
but
that show
100?
Was tired many years ago, and I used to watch it. I used to like it. And the cast is very good, but wow.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but it does. It can't. Nothing can last that long.
No. It got really tired.
Now, and if we're still doing this podcast when we're 100, then
they should cancel us.
We're the only ones that could cancel us.
Oh.
But back then, I think we joked about it before, but by then we'll just be repeating the stories and they'll be slightly different.
Exactly.
Because memory changes. Remember that time? No, I don't either.
I don't
what
think
were you
so.
talking about?
You remember when we went to Shakey's?
All right.
All right, man.
Good night, John.
Good night, Phil.
Here's the song!
I've been away for nights and days. Got a fat load, I hope it pays. A lot lizards peddling their cheap thrills, eating up diners and grills. It's not just your home cooking I'm a missing. 'Cause here flush twice, it's a long ways to the kitchen. Alligator line by an old bed den. The hammer's down since yardstick 10. Thinking about you since past Cheyenne. I can't wait to see you again. Sorry for all the bitching. Flush twice, it's a long ways to the kitchen. Here I sit, broken-hearted. It's been too long since we last parted. Lost in Paul at 10-100. Reading prose from a bathroom pundit. Sometimes I question my life's decisions. Flush twice is a long ways to the kitchen. Going horizontal at dark 30. Close my eyes, it's your face I see. I love you more than the smoky loves bait. Tomorrow I'll be geared jamming across this state. It's not just your home cooking I'm missing. Flush twice is a long ways to the kitchen.